Real fast, I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Upworthy Weekly. It's a lighthearted news podcast. It comes out on Saturdays, and I have forced my co-host, Todd Perry, to join me here to help me tell you about our new venture. Todd, why should they listen?
Well, I mean, a lot of people, they think, oh, it's the Upworthy podcast. It's just going to be sunshine and it's going to be unicorns. But you know what? It's really not that. Allison doesn't have the ability. She doesn't have it in her to actually be that person that I thought we were hiring when we did this show. But clearly, after just a couple episodes, the facade dropped. Okay? I thought, she's doing the Upworthy show. It's not going to be like, oh, neurotic, cynical Allison, but no, she's there. So, I try to counteract that with some of my good vibes.
I would argue that if one person is coming off as a little bit cynical and unhinged right now, it's not me.
It comes out every Saturday, wherever you get podcasts.
Bye.
Allison Rosen is your new best friend. Allison, with her the good times never end. Allison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Allison's your new best friend.
Hey everyone, hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Allison Rosen is your new best friend. I am delighted to bring in my guest in a moment, but first I must catch up with my producer, the bad boy of podcasting, even though I've been trying to steal that title from him and he won't release. He's got a death grip on it. He tried to tell me that I'm too old to be the bad boy.
Not what I said.
That's what I heard of podcasting, that the title is bestowed on you when you're young. And I wasn't even trying myself to come for it. A friend of the show, Jordan Morris, suggested like maybe I could get in on it. And then I got excited by that. And then Tony's like, no, you can't have it. Anyway, I have to chat with this guy for a moment. Then we're bringing in the guest. Hello, Tony. What do you have to say for yourself?
Hello. Yeah, it was just, my favorite thing about this is I like the treatment that it's a real title. Like, that I have any, that there's even an ounce of seriousness that I take that title. Well,
you're cock-blocking me from also being the bad boy of podcasting.
Yeah. It's, I guess it's the opposite of yes-anding.
Yeah.
I'm no budding you taking the title away from me.
Right. So there, henceforth and ergo and there and other words that are similar to that, it seems you take it seriously, don't you think?
If that's how you want to view it, sure. Yeah, boss. You got it, boss.
That seems pretty serious. I mean, if it's all silly, then what's the harm?
All right. Fine. Let's see. Let's try it on. There. What do you think? There, I've given it up. It's yours now.
This is really be careful what you wish for, because now I don't want it.
See? Yeah.
It's like, it really was about the pursuit for me.
Yeah. And
because
you didn't see this curveball coming that I was just going to...
I really didn't. No. I really thought I wanted it.
That's part of being a bad boy. You got to be unpredictable.
I really thought I wanted it. And then all of a sudden when I could feel it swinging my way, and then I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
It's a big responsibility.
So I'm going to try it on for size. So let's see. It would be like, hey, everyone. Hi, hello. Welcome to another exciting episode. Wait, how do I start the show? Let me get into the right headspace.
Yeah, I mean, you were doing it right.
Rosen, Allison's new best friend. Hey, everyone. Hi, hello. Welcome to another exciting episode of Allison Rosen's new best friend. I can't wait to introduce my guest in a moment. Oh, I don't even say who I am because it's in the title. Hey, everyone. Hi, hello. Welcome to another exciting episode of the show. I'm Allison Rosen, the bad boy of podcasting. I can't wait to bring in my guest, but first I must chat with my producer, the other bad boy of podcasting. Tony, you're going to have to get a new title.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. You won't even need to chat with me anymore because you don't give a fuck about talking to me. You're the new bad boy.
Yeah, and I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I won't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. It's really fighting with your new best friend.
Yeah.
Allison
it's confusing.
Rosen is the bad boy of podcasting, and she's also your new best friend.
Yeah, because you're forcing people to be your best friend. Because that's
Right.
That's rule number 1 of being a bad boy.
Should I hire a consultant to work with me on my image?
If it's me, yes.
Because you need to, because we're going back to in person. I don't know what's happening phlegm wise, guys. I just would like to apologize. We're going back to in person. Everyone knows you're paying me $40,000 per show to go back to in person.
Yep.
So you need me to now pay you
Exactly.
to consult.
I got to get this money. I got to get this $40K somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Enough of this. If my voice continues to do this, I suggest everyone turn the episode off and never listen to me ever again. That's a classic bad boy move. I don't care.
Wow. Yeah.
You know
there
what?
you go. You're catching on.
Hey, if you like it, subscribe. If you don't, I don't care. And if you do, I don't care. It's the opposite of what I normally say, which is if you like it or even if you don't, make sure you're subscribed.
Yeah.
If you like it or even if you don't, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Man, that was
Hey, if you
badass.
want to review us, click 5 stars or don't. I don't tell a friend or don't if you even, who cares?
This is good. I think this is going to be huge for you.
Thank you. Okay. I cannot, speaking of friends, or was I? I can't even remember a moment ago. I got so much going on. I cannot wait, or I don't even care about bringing in my next guest. This is someone I have known for years, someone I used to work with. He is co-host of the Film Vault. He is the sound effects guy. Oh, fuck. And sidekick on the Adam Carolla Show. He is an author of Shrinkage, Manhood, Marriage, and the Tumor That Tried to Kill Me. It is my old pal, Bald Bryan Bishop. Please put your hands together. Hello.
It's me, the bald boy of podcasting.
The bald boy. Ooh, that's good.
That's not bad, right? I mean, that's a
That's
run
really
with that.
That's really
Does
good.
have a nice ring to it.
Allison, you've gotten soft since you've stopped working with me because you would never have said, for fear of it turning into a drop, no one ever listened to me again.
I know.
And Tony, I'd highly recommend that after the show you track that down and get that as a drop.
Hey.
That's good advice.
How long has Tony been with you? I don't feel like he was here last time we recorded.
No, well, so he was, but you were potentially on tour, or was I?
I think it was during that beginning part of COVID where you were just doing these by yourself for a
Yes.
bit. Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So Tony's been producing for. We never can figure out exactly when it was.
It's been like
and
3 years, or close to 3 years, I think.
I think it's
Which is insane.
yeah, maybe even been longer.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, during Zoom, I was just doing them solo and sending them to him. I forget why, because I couldn't
gotcha.
figure it out.
Now, Tony,
Yes.
what has happened in your life that you ended up here?
Just bad boy shit.
Yeah.
That's bald boy.
Oh, bald boy shit. Well, Tony has hair, so for him it was bad boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm kidding. Don't answer that. Allison, it's wonderful to see you.
So good to
I'm
see
honored
you.
as always to be your guest. And it's nice when you catch up with old friends. Well, you know, it's jarring when they change dramatically. You'd be like, oh shit, what happened in this person's life? You left the show double and triple double thinking, you know, going back and rosinating on your own moniker that you bestowed upon yourself moments before. So it's you never change.
That's true. Yeah. So fill me in. You've been on the show a bunch, and I encourage everyone to go back and listen to all those shows. Except new me, do whatever you want. It's your life.
Nice.
But you were last on 2 years ago, and I know this because Elliot and Tessa were like 3.5, which sounds like so young compared to where they are now. Which is nuts. So it was 2 years ago. So catch me up on what's happened in the last 2 years.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, it was it was mid-COVID. I don't know
Right.
when it was. It's not important, but I was I would actually highly recommend your audience go back and check out my last appearance, if for no other reason than to compare and contrast with how I'm looking and sounding and feeling now. I was on a pretty heavy dose of pretty gnarly chemotherapy back then. God, what I wouldn't have given for steroids. Chemotherapy at the time, my tumor, which you alluded to with my book, had a recurrence, and doctor was taking aggressive action to beat it back, which it did, which is good news. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm doing obviously much better. I'll thank you not to make clinking noises while I'm revealing the deepest, darkest secrets of my life.
It was one clank to prevent future clanks, though.
Oh, I see.
It was a prophylactic
to
clank.
let the air out of the balloon. Yeah, you kind of just got a little loud. I understand.
I should have chosen my spot, honestly.
Agreed. We'll talk about podcasting afterwards. I know you're new to the game.
I saw that Conan O'Brien invented it, right?
That's what I understand.
Yes. Okay. So anyway, you're doing much better.
Doing much better, feeling good. Just got back from Hawaii, last Saturday, so 6 days ago as we record this, and feeling good. Definitely the upswing, reinvigorated with energy. Happy to see you, and to a much lesser extent, Tony.
Understood.
Upwards and onwards.
Good. Where in Hawaii did you go?
Went to the same place we went the last 3 or 4 years, to Wailea on Maui, which is just beautiful. I actually haven't explored the islands nearly enough. We used to go to Kauai every year, which is gorgeous. Just it's the Garden Island. Have you been?
Yes, we've gone to the south side a couple times. We've driven up to the North Shore, but we've never stayed on the North Shore of Kauai.
Makes sense.
Oh,
that's bald boy right there.
What'd you say?
That's bald boy right there.
Well, I would like to know what that means.
The North Shore. I mean, the whole island's beautiful, as you probably know. Kauai is just magical, and they call it the Garden Island for a reason. It's just so green and lush and quiet and quaint. And Maui's a little different. It's a little more, resorty, and they just got different speeds. So depending on what you're in for, depending on what you're up for, there's something for everyone.
So Wailea is your spot now.
Yeah, well, yes, especially because this is the last year I think we can get away without taking Tessa, who, if your audience might not know, my 6-year-old daughter, well, soon to be 6-year-old daughter, she was making a lot of noise about wanting to come this year, and we were going to bring her, except we found out that LAUSD school started the week we were going to go. So, like great parents, we debated whether or not we should see her off for first day of school, and it's a new school and first grade and all the stuff. She's nervous. She's the youngest kid in her class, 22 kids, and she's one of 2 who are just starting this year. Everyone else was in the kindergarten coming in from the year before. So she was understandably nervous, and so we realized pretty quickly that we should be there for her first day. So we walked her to school at 8 a.m. and then got on a plane at 9:30 and flew to Hawaii.
Who picked her up?
My mom was in town for a couple of days, was with us, walked her to school, did the whole thing. And then my mom departed back to the Bay Area, and Christy's parents took over for the remainder of week, but it was 5 days.
How did it go for her, for Tessa?
Fantastic. Don't you have a podcast called Childish for this?
I do.
Okay.
Well, you're not on that one, though.
That's true.
So no, I don't have a podcast called Childish for discussing Tessa's
That's
first
a really
day
good point.
in first grade.
You got me there. No, it went great. She's nervous and anxious and excited and all the stuff at the same time. This is an interesting development. I think it was 2 days ago, in her second week of school. I got a phone call from school saying Tessa has a tummy ache, and it was a school nurse, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, she's like, would you like to talk to her? I'm like, yeah. She was just kind of nervous to be at school. You know what I mean? It was kind of overwhelming.
Right.
And then Tessa caught on to the fact that if she said she had a tummy ache, she got to go to the nurse's office and call home. So they kept calling Christy, because I left for the Carolla Show, and they kept calling Christy like, Tessa has a tummy ache again. And finally, after the third call, she went to get her, because, at a certain point you got to throw in the towel.
Yeah.
And we explained, gently and as supportively as we could, Tessa, I understand that, your tummy was maybe a little upset because you were nervous or whatever. But if you come home, it's not a watch TV day, and it's not a play with your toys day. If you come home sick, you got to rest, like in your bed or whatever. So she got the idea, but she's a quick study, as you can see.
Yeah, she sounds pretty smart. So wait,
Dude,
why
I'm sorry. I know every parent brags about their kid. I am more fearful because I believe Tessa to be a cult leader who is exceptional at math, whereas I was maybe, slightly above average at a young age, like middling. Tessa is bordering on a math prodigy. Like,
oh, wow.
she everything is easy for her. Here at their school the other day, they had a project where they broke the 22 kids into teams of like 5 or 6 or whatever. And the task was take these pencils and take these clothespins and make structures, a standing structure, the tallest tower or whatever you can make out of it. Tessa became the team leader. She drew a schematic, and the team executed it and won the competition by making the tallest. God. I know. I'm like, what are you? Where did this come from?
Is she going to be an architect? Because you know how
yes,
I feel
evil.
about architects.
She will be the first non-evil architect.
The world needs one.
And it's funny because the school has like a Shutterfly account that they like subscribe you to. You see pictures of the class, pictures of the kids, whatever. I don't want to insult other 6-year-olds, but the drawings they came up with look more like necklaces, and the pictures were just of shit strewn about. Like Tessa built like an Eiffel Tower.
That's very impressive.
It was shocking. I was more like, there's a level you get where you're impressed, but then you're a little afraid.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't keep up. I can't do this.
You've crossed the Rubicon. Yeah. Beware. You have a tiny architect on your hands.
I know.
So
what are the signs to watch out for?
This is one of them.
This is one of them.
Yeah, I don't know. What are the other signs of like megalomania in a 6-year-old?
She is she is telling a lot of the kids what to do, and they're listening.
Wait, for real?
Yeah, not her. She's not evil yet, but more like where to put their backpacks and stuff like that, where to sit. Things of that nature. Like she's
first grade
a real
is a will to power.
She's a real Svengali.
I love it. I mean, it just seems like there's sort of room for her to rise to power, and she's assuming it.
Yes, in a
It's
power
their
vacuum.
fault.
In a power
Yeah.
vacuum, just assume the crown.
Exactly. So wait, why did she not do kindergarten at this school?
She has been at the same Bright Horizons facility since she was 9 weeks old.
Oh, wow.
She went from the infant room to the red room to the, year by year, basically. And the final room was the treehouse room. And that is a kindergarten, pre-K or TK hybrid.
TK.
Yeah,
Got
TK
it.
hybrid. And everyone in her class was older than her, but they're all the kids she's known her whole life. So she just went along with the group. And she was doing all the same. They don't, throttle the work for everyone. They just give everyone the same assignments or projects or whatever. And so when all those kids are going into first grade, and we were like, well, she just did a year of kindergarten basically. So we kind of petitioned the school, and they actually called her teacher, and she's like, yeah, she's ready for first grade.
Look at that. Wow.
I know.
So are you guys feeling good so far about, and I do have, everyone listen to Childish. You know what though? On Childish, we don't talk about parenting nearly as much as
This?
I think we intended to at the beginning. So yeah, it's a little flip flop. We'll go talk about Bob Bryan's other stuff on
Nice.
Childish. He
I love
won't
it.
be there, but, are you feeling good about public school so far?
So far, so good. It's a very well rated school, which, as you probably know, doesn't really mean shit. And, it's really, once you get in there and start looking around, and you can tell that it's, the parents are involved. There's like an active parents association or whatever. The principal is new. She just came from, I think, a school, elementary school in the Palisades, which, as you know, are pretty high end schools. And so I think she's kicking ass over at our new school because, she's used to sort of high performance, or at least a lot of involvement from the parents and stuff. So no complaints so far. Everything is running very smooth. It's been a week and a half, 2 weeks as of today. So no complaints.
2 weeks as well. Elliot's also at a public school, and it's really too early to have it's too early to have an opinion. I'm totally aware of that. And he likes it, but we went from a preschool that was very warm and fuzzy and hand-holdy, and I just can't help but feel like so far it just feels, even though it's very highly rated and people really rave about Burbank schools and this school in particular, I just can't help but feel like it's institutional and cold. But I don't know if that's about Elliot or about me. It might be about, like, I wish I felt like it was more of a warm, fuzzy, hand-holding kind of place. I don't know that he actually minds it at all. And I also don't know how accurate my read on it is yet.
Also true.
Yeah.
No, we're in similar situations. Tessa's daycare / preschool, which again, she was in from 9 weeks old, was very nurturing. You know what I mean? Like their last class she was in, that kindergarten class I told you about, was 7 kids, including her. To go to a class of 22, which is the largest she's ever been in, feels jarring to us, my wife and I, and probably you if you're in the same situation. But kids adapt pretty quick, and she's like, oh, this is my new reality, and these are my new friends, or not new friends, but you know what I mean. If this is my new class, this is my new teacher. It helps that it is, for a public school, a little less than what you're describing. Like, it's a little institutional, a little more maybe on the fuzzy side, but it's still just a public school, So I look at that as a rite of passage, in a way, like, as one, I had both a private and public school experience, for a number of years growing up. And it is, I hate saying it, but it is what it is. It's like kids kind of adapt, and water reaches its own level, and it's the new normal, and all those cliches.
The thing I feel about you, bald boy of podcasting, is the guy's cliche.
Yeah, that's me. Just platitudes.
Did you go to private and then public, or the other way around?
I bounced around a lot. So first grade, Catholic school, second grade, public school, third grade, back to that Catholic school, moved cities and did public school from 4th through 8th, and then did the Catholic high school, Sarah High School in the Bay Area.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I remember from your book, I knew that you had, but it was undiagnosed ADHD, right?
Yes, correct. And it's funny you mentioned that, because we actually just hired a new producer on the Film Vault named Avery, and he is working for a company that is developing, I'm going to get this wrong, but it's basically like developing some kind of diagnostic software for ADHD. Oh. I've never been officially diagnosed. Like, by the time, that would have been a thing, the ship had sailed. I was well into or past college. But I have always been curious, and he was like, hey, if you want to test out our software, we can, I'm like, that sounds great. So stay tuned for that.
How fun. You know what's funny? And this just shows how for some reason, when you said developing software, this just shows how fucking old I am, even though I like to pretend I'm hip and young. The image in my brain is a floppy disk. And I don't mean a diskette. I mean like old fashioned.
Oh, like the 3.5 inch or whatever it was, the 5 inch.
The flexible. Like, yeah, those flexible ones with like the little notch out of the side that you'd buy at like Egghead Software. If anyone gets that reference.
I don't even get that reference. I don't think we have.
I mean, that's Tony. Have you heard of Egghead Software?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe it wasn't even a chain. Maybe there was just one store called
Some regional
Tony,
humor for y'all.
Yeah. A hyper local regional humor for people who are really old. That's my demo. Tony, will you look up
Already on
Egghead
it.
software? Thank you very much. So Bryan,
Yes.
you guys on the Adam Carolla Show, you're fully back in the studio? Pandemic's over.
Yeah, I pretty much went back when I got vaccinated in April of 2021, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're going back to in-person interviews soon, and you've done this long enough to know that Zoom, while a fantastic innovation and incredibly convenient, it's just not the real
Blows.
thing, being in person and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So after vaccines, there was a little period of time where we went back to in-person. And then once I found out that people were still coming down with COVID, and then we had a scare because we had a babysitter she was exposed. And then I got scared. And so then like a bunch of vaccinated people I know got it. And that was Delta. And then what happened? My sister's son went to school for like a day, and then like her whole family got it. And they got fairly sick. It was during Delta, so it was like a while ago at this point. And then I got freaked out again. So then we went back to Zoom. And then we did Zoom for a while. Tony was miserable. And then we all got COVID a couple months ago. And I have just been a real stickler for not wanting to expose myself because even though Zoom sucks. However, so I've been like a holdout, but now that Elliot is in school, I feel like we're just in a germ soup.
The
so we may as well
point
go
is
back.
moot.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I have obviously the added wrinkle of having gone through, pretty serious rounds of chemo, prior to getting vaccinated. I think I finished my last serious dose/round in like January of 2021, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then having just gotten, I finished some really toxic stuff just while I was vaccinated. So it coincided well. So I felt comfortable enough to, limited interaction, with strangers and whatnot. But, it's at a certain point, you got to get out there and live your life.
Right.
I mean,
so are you
taking whatever precautions make sense for you? For me, it was, immunocompromised, but whatever.
Right. So what kind of precautions do you personally take?
At the moment?
Yeah.
None. I mean, no, okay, that's not true. So, I go to see a lot of movies, obviously, for the Film Vaults, and to a lesser extent, for the Baldywood segments on the Carolla Show. But I typically wear my mask in the theater. It's just an enclosed environment for 2 hours, and I'd rather not, increase my chances from, 5 to 10%. So mask up in the movie theater. Traveling to Hawaii, I think I wore my mask in the airport for sure. On the plane, I'm not as concerned. I just feel like the air is filtered or circulated or whatever to a appropriate extent. So I'm pretty off and on with the mask on the plane. In the airport, more so, it's just a lot of humanity in a cramped space for an hour or whatever it is. I guess anytime it's like we went to Chicago, my wife and I went to Chicago the weekend before we went to Hawaii on a sort of last minute whim because she used to live there and she went to Northwestern. I was at Northwestern for a short period of time. So we've always wanted to go together. So we went kind of on a last minute whim. And I think when we were on like the L train, we wore our masks and stuff. Just when you're in cramped spaces and low ventilation, it seems to make the most sense.
I know you guys are kind of Epicureans, although I remember that when your tumor was growing again, you were saying that you had completely lost your appetite and it was like a struggle to keep on weight. But in general, you guys enjoy eating out. Have you been eating out inside?
Yes, that is less of a concern, especially because you're eating. Yeah, I mean, it's less than it probably was at some point in our lives, just because of Tessa and the reality of having a 6-year-old, and our beloved nanny babysitter who we've had since Tessa was 1 year old, turned 1 year old, just moved to Texas like last week. So that was a big emotional. That was a big emotional moment for all of us, but especially for Tessa.
Yeah.
It's the only, and more importantly, our nanny/sitter had a daughter who was like 10, I guess 10 or 11, but she's known Tessa since she was like, 5 or 6. And that's Tessa's de facto older sister. So, it was emotional for sure.
It's tough.
I know.
Oh, that's really tough.
Can I'm going to, yeah, I'll just say it. I already brought it up, so I can't back out now. I wanted to give her a really nice, the sitter, the mom. I wanted to give her a really nice parting gift, like, thank you for 5 great years. But I couldn't think, framed picture or some nonsense. But I also want to give her something valuable, for her future, and to get her, she's moving with her family and she wants to start a new life out there in like San Antonio area. So I came up with the idea to give her Tesla stock, which she was very appreciative of. It's pretty valuable. So she was. Do you think that's a decent gift? I mean, it's not very sentimental. Okay, sorry. To round out the picture, Christy gave her a lovely photo montage of her and Tessa and the daughter and everything. So I feel like we covered both bases.
Yeah, I think so. What is the stock doing right now?
It just split 3 ways.
Oh, so that's good, right?
Yesterday.
I have to say, I have like a really tenuous grasp on our tenuous understanding of the market. Like I am, I am somewhat invested in it, and I don't have a ton in it, but I am somewhat invested in it. But like, I'm real like hit or miss with, there will be times where I feel like I have like researched a certain stock and I'm like paying attention to it. And then there's other times where I'm like, I should really check because I haven't looked at it very often.
We have very few individual stocks. We are smart enough to know what we don't know, and we've hired a person, a money manager, so to speak, to just basically run our investments. We were smart. Well, I give all credit to Christy because she was smart enough back when she was working for Jaguar. She was in the industry, and she's like, "This is I don't even know what year. This is a long time ago." She was like, "Tesla's really like doing interesting things. We should invest." And at the time, the stock was $91, and I was like, "Oh, that's a lot of money." So we bought a few shares, and now it's much more than that. So we've done pretty well. But yeah, that was our by far and maybe our only successful individual stock pick.
Yeah. That's smart. I do have a few individual stocks, and when I bought them, they went up a ton since then, but I held on to them, and now they've gone down, and I'm just like,
Yeah, they'll go up again.
That's the hope. That's really the hope. But it's like if I had sold, but you know what? At that point, it's like gambling. It really feels like gambling. It's like it's not
now
enough.
You're talking about Goodyear.
Like it's not enough where it's like, oh, I could have retired on what I had made. It just would have been like, oh, that was a smart whatever. It feels like gambling versus like funds, retirement account, that kind of stuff feels more like smart investments. The individual ones, it's just like it's like it's beneficial and it's nice and it helps. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, will this be our next down payment? You know what I mean? Like, well, actually with Tesla, maybe, but overall, usually not. Right. Yeah. I think that's a smart gift.
Yeah, it was cool. I thought it was inventive. What
was her reaction when she saw it though? Was she like, ah?
No, she her boyfriend is as she tells me, like does day trading and like is interested into the stock market. So she had a pretty good idea of what was going on. Got it. How's Film Vault going? I think it's going great. You'll have to ask people who listen, but I it's going really well. Where would I find one? You have to dig pretty hard, honestly. We just started doing live watch-alongs, like once a month, to movies, and people join and watch and chat on YouTube, and it's really fun. And it's much more popular than I would have anticipated. We did it last night.
Fun. How's Anderson?
It's really none of your business. He's good. He has a little boy who's only a month younger than Tessa,
Nice.
Atticus. So he's doing great. I saw him last night running around the house in his underwear. He seems like he's doing well.
So just to go back to the stuff with your health. So
Yeah.
when I last talked, so when I last talked to you, you had been on Avastin. So just to bring, I do recommend everyone goes and listens to the last episode for a more in-depth discussion of the stuff that I'm just kind of going to like quickly give everyone a thumbnail.
It may be jarring because I was pretty sick at the time.
Yeah. So you were diagnosed in 2009. They found the tumor in 2009?
Initially, yes, correct.
Yeah. And they found an inoperable brain tumor. They gave you about 6 months to live.
6 months to a year. Yep.
And they started giving you a medicine. They discovered a medicine. Well, they didn't discover the medicine, but they discovered that your tumor responded to a medicine called Avastin. So for years, you would get Avastin infusions, and that held the tumor at bay. And then
This is all correct.
all of a sudden, and everyone, by the way, read the book that I mentioned in the intro, Shrinkage, Manhood, Marriage, and the Tumor That Tried to Kill Me, because it is such a good book. And no spoilers, but at one point, Brian's wife had to clean up his poop. That's how bad things got.
No, not at one point.
Multiple times.
2 points.
At 2 points. 2 points, there was poop cleanup.
That's right.
But yeah, it was just, it's a really good book. And so then at a certain point though, you had, and I didn't know about, this had happened a few years prior to our most recent episode, but I didn't know about it. You had a small stroke, right?
That's true,
You woke up and
yes.
your arm was super weak, and then they realized you had a small stroke, and they thought that the Avastin had created the situation that had caused it, right?
They didn't know for sure, but it was certainly plausible, and just to give me time to recover and repair myself, they took me off the Avastin, because the Avastin is actually not a chemotherapy, as a blood vessel inhibitor. Mm-hmm. So the idea that blood would be restricted in any way from flowing, ideally to the tumor, may have contributed to blood not flowing correctly to parts of the brain.
So then, was it because they had stopped the Avastin that your tumor began growing again? Like, do they know that for sure?
They don't. It's again plausible, makes sense,
Right.
the way the story is told. But these tumors, as my doctor will tell me, these tumors, especially the glioma that I have, kind of a cousin to the GBM, glioblastoma, is so unpredictable. It could grow at any time for no reason. Or it could stay dormant for 10 years like it did.
Right. God damn. It's such a sword of Damocles
Yeah,
growing in your brainstem. So it is in your brainstem, right?
correct. Hence why it's inoperable. The brainstem is spiderwebbed by cranial facial nerves, which control everything from blinking to breathing to all those functions. And if you nick one of those, it's bad news.
Right. Oh, I should have said it wasn't just Avastin that they did originally, though. You also had a lot of radiation, which had all sorts of side effects, which are in the book. Like, I know that it felt like you were in Las Vegas all the time, like super hyper stimulated.
Overstimulated, yeah. I mean, the radiation, especially in that part of the brain stem, just really scrambled me. It was really tough. This is all 2009. Plus, they simultaneously had me on Temodar, which is a chemotherapy, which is just kind of the standard care. It's kind of a blunt object, but that's just what they do. Would have been nice to have some advances in the last 10 years, but here we are.
Yeah.
I mean, there are advances. I'm being glib, but that's still what they do.
Right. So they discovered that your tumor's growing again a few years ago.
Shortly, basically at the start of COVID. I mean, like right before January or February. Shortly after I did the fundraiser in 2019, November of 2019.
And did they discover it on like a CAT scan?
MRI. Yeah, I do. I
MRI.
get regular MRI.
Just a routine. So you weren't having any symptoms. It was just a routine MRI.
Yeah, I really don't think I was having any serious symptoms. Yeah, it was just one of those regularly scheduled MRIs.
Did did they go straight to a chemotherapy drug, or did they do Avastin at all?
I feel, well, they had stopped the Avastin, and they were hesitant to start it again, given that I was so close to when I had my stroke, which I guess was 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think if I remember correctly, they put me on Temodar, the original OG, chemotherapy, oral pills at night. And that didn't really do anything. I think I got another scan a couple months later, and there might have been some more activity. So that's when they put me on a drug called Stivarga. And Stivarga was that's probably around the time I talked to you.
Yeah, you said your
Stivarga was
feet were
really
peeling.
rough. Oh my God. I got blisters all over my feet. They were just so sensitive. I was wearing slippers all the time. Wearing shoes was, excruciating. Yeah, the feet. I mean, I'd have to go back. Footnote to all of this. We did a lot of filming at the time for a documentary we were working on about young adult cancer. And this, other storyline popped up where my tumor comes back and I go through treatment and blah, blah, blah.
That's fortuitous.
It really worked out. It really worked out well.
Nice.
Everyone wins. I detail all my symptoms at some point. I'm sure it's in all the piles of footage. I'm gonna have to go back to that to remember just exactly. I remember like my tongue had blisters, and it was terrible. I think I was constipated, and it was head to toe, literally symptoms.
But
my beard turned like a weird fleshy color.
Ew.
I think that's when I was on your show.
That's the grossest of all.
I know, it really is.
Fleshy beard, blech. But it worked. It worked, and the tumor's been behaving since.
It worked to an extent. I was on that for 6 months, and then I'd have to go back and really think about it, but I think maybe the tumor was stable or growing at a much slower rate. Like it did work ostensibly, just by being incredibly toxic. And that's when they put me on a new drug called CCNU. And that one was not nearly as toxic, but really, really, really affected my energy levels. Like it was very low, my energy, for about 6 or 8 months. And when I finished that, Stivarga was when I was 133 pounds. That was my lightest that I got down to. I'm back to about 153, which is still a little underweight for me. And it's actually, I can't explain it. This may sound torturous to you, Allison, but no matter what I consume, no matter what I eat, I cannot put on any weight. I'm eating.
No matter what I eat, I can't put on a pound.
I know. I'm eating turkey sandwiches on sourdough bread every day for lunch, pasta for dinner. I mean, I'm just carbo loading, and to no avail.
Is this a bummer for you though?
It's a bummer in the sense that I think I would be healthier, 10 pounds heavier. It's awesome in the sense that I'm eating whatever I want and not seeing any effect.
Yeah. That's weird. What is that, do you think? You know?
I have no idea. It could be a residual effect of the medications. Maybe my metabolism is higher. I doubt it. You know what? I'm avoiding excess sugar. Like I'm not like drinking, smoothies. I am sometimes, but not regularly. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's the next step. Yeah. But I told you, we talked about this. I was keto for like 4 or 5 years, like hardcore strict keto.
Now I can't remember if I knew that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have sugars or grains, at all really for, like I said, the better part of 4 or 5 years. And this is quite a change.
Yeah. Yeah, I periodically, I mean, it's been a while since I've done keto, but I was like very strict keto for a period of time too. And
How long did you, I mean, off and on or?
yeah, off and on, but I'm trying to think like the longest stretch was probably like close to a year, I'd say.
It's hard.
Yes.
The hardest part isn't avoiding, I mean, you know, but you do what you can to avoid sugar, you know, grains, whatever. It's the sort of social aspect. Like you go over to someone's house and there's like cheese and crackers, or you go, you know, it's someone's birthday and you're like, no cake for me, you know, or
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah, that's for me, that was the most challenging part.
What I remember is it's funny that this is the dessert that got away. We were in Connecticut, and Daniel's relatives have this Christmas party every year, and there is they have like this beautiful house, and there's a room devoted to dessert, and there was a table and like every dessert delicacy you could think of, like plates, trays, like tiered plates with different chocolate bonbons and little like petit fours, and just like every tiny little cookie treat tart thing. And I just remember like walking by and being like, not my food. And I just kept going. And I think about that now, and I think I would like to destroy that room.
That's very funny. I don't know if I ever told you, when my brother got married, I think the maid of honor or one of the bridesmaids is like the scion to like the See's Candy empire.
Oh my
God. They had a See's Candy bar, not a candy bar, but a bar of candy piled high on all sorts of cake
Were you
platters.
ketoing then?
Oh no, this was 2009. I was dying from cancer. I was eating all the fucking
Okay, good.
candy I can get.
Okay, good. What is and this is a snack chat, what is your favorite See's candy?
Easily Bordeaux's.
Those are pretty good. Mine is Scotch. Thank you. I think mine is the Scotch Kiss, which is like it's like a butterscotch wrapped around.
I'm familiar.
Okay, good.
I love
Wrapped around.
butterscotch. Butterscotch is probably my favorite flavor, which is funny. It's nice because you don't get too many butterscotch things out in the world. You know what I mean?
really
Like
don't.
if you look at the dessert menu of a restaurant, there is often not a butterscotch flavored item. That said, it is my favorite sweet accoutrement.
Have we talked about the fact that I now own a refrigerator that has the freezer on the bottom?
No,
Even
we
Adam.
we have not.
The amount of shit I took
You
over
made
the
it.
fact that I did not. I know I finally did. I finally did. But is that still what you guys have, or have you moved on to some other kind of refrigerator?
I mean,
now?
I think there's like a 1%, class where you get like the refrigerator with like the double swing glass doors or some sort of oversized Sub-Zero situation. But
Yeah.
In our tax bracket, I would imagine this is about as good as it gets.
Okay, yeah, we've got like it's 3 doors. Maybe they always are when you have the freezer on the bottom.
Right.
Freezer and then the 2 that
Yeah.
open.
That's ours. Yeah.
I guess I am living the good life. When
You
you
made
think
it.
about
Congratulations. Welcome to the club.
Thank you very much.
I have so many secrets to tell you.
Yeah, it's finally time.
Wait, you're in Burbank now?
Yes, I am.
How long has that been?
Since 2018.
So when
Halloween.
we zoomed last, you were in Burbank.
Exactly. That
Because
is
the last
correct.
time we saw each other in person was at your place in West Hollywood or Hollywood?
It was like Hancock Park is actually technically what it was, although people think of Hancock Park as the other side with all the mansions, not the side with the apartments.
That's what people say when they don't want to say they live in Hollywood. Hancock Park.
I mean, I see your point. I believe it was Hancock Park-ish. But yes, that's where I last saw you.
Gotcha.
And that's when you met Elliot, when he was like just a little toddler.
I know. How many kids and dogs do you have now?
I have 2 children. So I have Elliot, who's 5, and Owen, who's 3. And then I have Wendy.
I actually knew that.
Oh, okay. And what about you?
There's still the one dog. Let's see if we can get him in frame
Charlie?
here. Charlie's still alive. Yeah. Can you see him
good.
right there?
Oh,
Look, he's
hi,
lying
Charlie.
next to me.
YouTube.com/Allison Rosen. Wait, I'm going to make it go to Charlie so everyone can see Charlie.
Charlie is He's an old man. He's slowing down. His vision is going. His hearing is all but gone. But, he's still relatively spry for what we think is a 14-ish-year-old dog. So he sleeps a lot and he's slow, but he's not like decrepit and suffering. He's just a happy little man.
Will you show him again?
Yes. Come here, buddy. Smile for the camera. Oh, hold on. There we go. There it is.
Oh, Charlie.
Look at him sleeping next to Daddy.
Oh, sweetie.
Yeah, so he's good.
All right. I say it is time to answer some questions that people sent in on Patreon. I am on Patreon, patreon.com/Allison Rosen. Patreon of fun stuff. We've got behind the scenes content. I forgot what word goes with that. That's a classic bad boy of podcasting maneuver.
That's right. You don't care.
I don't care. You know what? If you don't like the word I choose, that's your fucking problem. We got behind the scenes content. You can submit questions for my guests. You can submit carbohydrates that I will call you on the Thursday show. I do a Patreon. Brian, have you been a guest on my Patreon podcast?
That's a question for you. I've been a guest a few times. I don't know if I've ever reached that level.
Well, if you haven't been, you have to be.
What is the difference? What is the difference for me?
Well, I solicit questions that are like more questions than we're going to do now, and I ask you them. And it's a little more casual than this. It's kind of similar.
More casual than this?
I know this feels very buttoned up, and
which of our shirts are coming off?
It's a little more casual than this. It's less of like me interviewing you and more of just we answer the questions that listeners send in,
Sure.
and it's shorter.
Chit-chat.
And it's a little more gossipy.
I love it.
Yeah. So you got to do that, or you got to do it again. I feel like you've done it, but maybe not.
I don't think so. That format does not sound familiar.
That's called the friend zone. There's a level where you can text me and I will text you back.
Wow.
Sign up for a year.
That's a value.
You don't even know. Sign up for a year. You get 2 months free, or just do it month by month. Patreon.com/Allison Rosen. All right. We have a song.
When we ask, they send them in. They're wondering how you have been. So thanks so much for answering these questions from our fans.
All right. Why can I not? Oh, here we go. Okay.
I have
Whitney,
a question. Can I submit a question?
Please.
Are you wearing boots right now?
No, I'm not.
What?
Look, check it out. Hang on.
I take your word for it. Oh my gosh. That's actually nice. You're at home, throw on the fuzzies.
That's right. I'm wearing super fashionable fuzzy slippers.
That's nice. I like that.
No, the knee-high boots have been retired.
What?
I mean, they're in my closet in case I need to, because I need them.
That was
but
your whole identity. That'd be like the Carrot Top retiring in the steamer trunk.
I know. And there was, you made the funniest joke one time. Let's see if I can remember it.
Wait, slow down. Everyone, pipe down.
Oh, I'm gonna botch it, and I know that is gonna be disappointing with the way I said it.
Well, I forget what you're even gonna say, so it'll be new to me.
A guest. Oh, what was the question? I remember what you said, but a guest said something like, what I'm just gonna say what. Maybe we can work backwards.
Okay.
Because you said, I don't think she can. And the question the guest asked was something about how I remove them. Like, can you remove them with that zipper or something? Like, can you remove them that way? But it was like the perfect timing and just the perfect syntax. And you're like, I don't think she can. Tony, I used to wear knee-high boots all the time on the Adam Carolla Show. It was like my uniform. Mm-hmm. This is what we're talking about.
Yes, I picked up on that.
Tony,
wow.
Don't pretend that you can do context clues. Okay.
Tony, where are you coming to us from in the world? Where are you right now?
I'm in Glendale.
You're in fucking Glendale and Allison's in Burbank?
Yep.
This is outrageous.
Why is that outrageous?
You're a mile apart.
Well,
And you can't be bothered to show up to the podcast.
Oh, no. He could. You don't understand.
Oh, I would be there in a heartbeat if she'd let me.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's even more outrageous.
No, he is willing to pay me $40,000 per episode that we do in person. I have yet to see any cash, but he is so over Zoom, you don't even know.
Allison,
Anytime.
I would advise you to take that money. I'm no
Really?
financial advisor, but that is a really beneficial deal.
Anytime the smallest or biggest thing goes wrong audio wise, I can expect at least 6 texts.
Oh, yeah.
Or between 6 to 12 texts from Tony letting me know.
In real time?
Yeah. He live it's like he live tweets the problem, letting me know reason, 1,000,001 why I don't like Zoom, and then I get a full breakdown of the problem.
He's frustrated when he does actually take to social media and subtweet you about the problems in real time. Recording with this dumb broad.
But perhaps it's what's really hard is the hybrid Zoom in-person recording. So it's like either we have to all be on Zoom or we have to, like when I have Daniel on the Thursday show, he's in the house.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes, short of sitting next to each other and cuddling up to a microphone. Yes, I
Right.
get it.
Yes. So even though we're close, it would be okay. Whitney C would like to know what's been pissing you off lately.
Oh, me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. What has been pissing me off lately? This is actually going to, so I don't know if you want to play the jingle or not. This will coincide nicely with my Hey, Go Fuck Yourself.
Oh, should we do Hey, Go Fuck Yourself inside Patreon? Let's do it.
Has it ever been done?
It's never been done, but why not start now?
That's why I'm the bald boy of podcasting.
Okay, give us your Hey, Go Fuck Yourself.
So LAUSD, I know they have a big job to do, literally educating millions of children across this land, some who have a better mastery of the language than others. It makes it more difficult. I understand that, the parents especially. And I should point out as a footnote that the school we're in, the district, I guess, is the feeder district for UCLA, grad students, right? So like people who are in UCLA graduate housing, like coming from a lot of them from overseas, China, India, whatever, they don't speak the language well or at all. And so their kids are coming to LAUSD, not just to be educated, but to learn English. So I understand it's an uphill battle. I understand what you're dealing with. And while the communication of information is efficient, it is wildly overkill. I got, apparently, I don't know if you know this, Allison, but LAUSD is offering kids free breakfast and lunch this year. I know this because I've gotten no less than a dozen phone messages, robocalls, and any number of texts and emails from LAUSD. I understand you have a hard job to do. I understand you have to get this message out to a lot of people, but 1 or 2 messages will suffice. 12 is a massive waste of time. I'm constantly rejecting phone calls and deleting voicemails. LAUSD, in this respect, go fuck yourself.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
Wow. We don't get robocalls. We do get a fair number of emails, but I don't get
you don't get the
calls or
robocalls
texts or anything. No.
I've gotten a minimum of a dozen in the 2 weeks Tess has been in school.
Wow. No, we don't get calls or texts or anything.
And you don't know whether to answer it because it's like, oh, is this the nurse telling me my child's arm has been severed?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an extreme
that would drive
example.
me nuts because I would panic every time I saw that.
Yeah, it sucks.
Oh.
And
all right.
our school is right behind a CVS pharmacy, like they're like 2 blocks away, but they share the same prefix. You know what I mean? Like 310,
Yes.
278. And I got enough calls from CVS saying, your prescription is ready. So
Right.
now I'm like gun shy. Like I don't want to talk to a machine, but I don't know who this is.
Yeah. What a nightmare, Brian.
There's no recovering.
Ray Morgan, what are your favorite Allison drops? I can't get enough of My Fiance Daniel and Becky Honkington.
Those are 2 classics all time, like Mount Rushmore Allison drops. I would throw in the Dave Holmes guitar.
Oh, I love
That was outstanding. And oh man, I'll think of another one and throw it out in the episode. But the guitar, My Fiance Daniel, dismissively, and yes, the Becky Honkington is pretty excellent.
Thank you. Let's see. Okay. Jason Henry says, wow, how cool that you're coming on. So there was an ACS from like 2007 and Bryan sounded terrible, like incomprehensible. He's not talking about your vocal quality, just what you were saying. I'm just kidding. I heard this on archives like 3 weeks ago. I literally started crying for him and his situation from 2007. This dude has battled back and seems to be coming out on the good side. I'm so happy for him and his family. He sounds better than ever today.
Get to your question.
Oh, and you know what? I fucked up because I just took a screenshot. I didn't see that I had to click the see more.
That's hilarious. Oh, well, let me filibuster for you. Yeah, that would have been 2009, probably mid 2009, like June, July, more likely August or September. August, July. Anyway, point is, yeah, I was borderline incomprehensible. 2007 was the radio era, and I was actually doing pretty well back then. So I do remember very specifically what era it was when I was having my the radiation affected literally my tongue. So forming words was very difficult. It took a long time. And even when I did, you couldn't often understand what I was saying. Adam, to his credit, kept having me back on the show, I think is a goodwill gesture, but certainly didn't benefit the comedy or the content or the discourse.
Okay. My question, so he sounds better than ever today. My question is simple.
That's not true.
Oh, I don't think so either. My question is simple. When did he think he wasn't going to make it? And can he train me to be his fill-in for when he needs medical days off? I love both of you.
Second part, hard no. First part, I was so naively and blindly positive that even at my worst, I was still convinced that I was going to pull through and things were going to turn around. It was just a matter of time. Well, looking back, that was exceptionally foolhardy. There was no guarantee. In fact, the odds were that I was not going to pull through and things were going to continue to get worse. And had it not been for my, brilliant doctor putting me on Avastin, which really was off label at the time, it was designed for colorectal cancer. They were using it for breast cancer. And he was like, and I guess there were some cases that were going well with brain cancers, and it was approved. It wasn't experimental, but it was I think it was actually approved the month I got diagnosed, and I was put on it 6 months, whatever it was, not even 5 months later. So timing obviously worked out. I'll answer a different question, but since you brought it up, what was the person's name?
Jason.
Jason. Thank you, Jason, for the question. Thank you for the compliment. I do hope I sound okay, if not, back to normal, so to speak. But I remember feeling very despondent, specifically about wanting to get back into radio or podcasting in like mid 2009, when my voice really was like very difficult to understand. I was thinking, well, that ship has sailed, and I guess I got to, I was convinced I was going to go back to work in some capacity, even though, there were a lot of people in my life, professionals, medical professionals, who were encouraging, me to file for disability. You obviously qualify for any number of levels. And I remember, not in any virtuous way, just I guess in a stubborn way, determined to go back to work, whatever that was. Keep in mind, mid 2009 was, the tail end of the housing crisis, and there weren't a lot of jobs. So it wasn't as though I was applying for jobs, but it was, I still had it, not even in the back of my mind, in the forefront, like I would like to get better and resume working at some point. Again, not because I'm virtuous, just because that seemed like a reasonable life goal.
You were a young man.
I was 30 years old and had just been on a fairly successful radio show. When you're on a fairly successful morning radio show in Los Angeles, the sky's kind of the limit, at least back then.
Right.
Maybe not so much today.
Yeah. Katie Bureau says, what's your biggest fear and what are you most proud of?
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess my biggest fear is not being here for Tessa and Christy, obviously, but Thankfully, I don't. It doesn't enter my mind as regularly as maybe it should, or it would have, in other circumstances. So that's thankful. And what am I proudest of? I'm proudest of. This is not a joke. I'm actually very proud of this. I have steered Tessa away from low quality, disposable, trashy movies of our youth. Allison, you remember growing up, kids movies sucked. They were just garbage. And kids TV series today are of a varying quality. I have really steered her towards really good Pixar movies and be that as much control as I have over my daughter. I'm glad that that is something that she genuinely loves. She loves movies, and she loves Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and she loves the Lego movie. And she obviously doesn't understand them on the level that an adult does. Mm-hmm. But the fact that she gravitates towards quality entertainment, specifically movies, I'm very proud of that.
Lee Brunn says, Are there guests on the ACS that he genuinely can't stand, that he puts on a smile to tolerate, or is he genuinely able to find the humanity in even the most vile of Carlsons?
That's hilarious. Well, I've never met Tucker Carlson, for example.
Oh, duh. I didn't know who. I was like, Carlson. I wasn't putting it together who he meant. Yes.
I think it's definitely the latter. Sorry, who is this person? I should pay attention.
Lee Bruns is his name.
Lee. Yes, it's definitely the latter. Even if there's a person who, has points of view that I think are ridiculous or even offensive. Offensive might be the wrong word, because that's pretty rare. And I we used to have, were you there when Milo Yiannopoulos used to come in?
No.
Okay, so he came in, but he was such a weird character / creation. He was very different off the air, and he was clearly doing a wrestling heel kind of thing.
Yeah.
He would call Trump
shockingly
yeah, he would call Donald Trump daddy and things like that. He was doing such a bizarre caricature that I kind of respected it in a way, even though what he was saying,
performance art.
most of what he was saying was kind of objectionable / absurd. But that said, I did kind of respect the hustle. You know what I mean? So I find, yes, I can find common ground or something relatable, or even just Lee alluded to, the humanity in people I otherwise might dismiss. When you meet someone in person, you've probably encountered this on a number of levels in your life and career. There are a lot of people who put it on, for when they're on camera. They know when they're on mic or on camera or whatever, and they play to a persona. I guess I do that to a small extent. I don't think I'm quite as smug as most people probably assume I am in real life.
Yes.
I get a kind of a kick out of, playing into that, but that's a microcosm of, I think, what Lee's talking about.
And yet Adam, same person.
Yeah. On and off the air.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Well, no. Uh-oh. Everyone turn it off. It's happening to my voice. Hang on.
Give that girl some water.
Same person on and off the mic. I do think, obviously, obviously he's putting on a show when he's on mic, but he is very much the same person on and off the mic.
Yes, you won't get a different message off the air than you would on.
Right. You know who and I've mentioned this before, stunned to discover Ann Coulter was I have not spent a ton of time around her, but the small amount of time I spent around her, the nicest, most gracious. Now, I think she was going at it for a way to be extra polite, but I was like, she totally charms you.
Was that in the ACS era?
No.
Okay, so I was saying I don't think I've met her. I'd be shocked if we were there together.
No, when I was doing Red Eye. Yeah, I met her, and my mom was with me. And she was so friendly to my mom. This was back in those days. I know you have to go. So let's quickly. Do we have time to do Just Mirror Everyone?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, I'm talking to you.
I'm not producing the show, so.
Well,
yes,
we have time. But
I'm joking. I appreciate that, and yes, let's J-Mo.
Let's do Just Mirror Everyone.
Sometimes I ponder on something I everyone.
All right. What is your Just Me or Everyone, Brian?
Okay, so I know, Allison, you fancy yourself a writer. So so this will be one. I had to dust off an old email where I used to collect JMOs in case they came up. I don't think I've ever done this one. I'm looking through and I'm like, if I have, it's been many years, but I don't believe I have. And Allison, the writer, will appreciate this. I find it exceptionally annoying, and I don't know, I assume you do as well, when, you know how people will, for emphasis, when they're writing, drag out a word, you know what I mean? They'll if the word is fuck, they'll spell it FFFFFUUUUCCCCCKK. I hate when people drag out the letter that is a hard consonant. Like if it was fuck, it would be like fuck, and it would go on. That is not a letter that you can extend. That's not a letter that you can do the F's and the U's all you want. In fact, do them all. You can't extend the hard consonants lest you fuck.
And it's like
when you're trying to say fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry,
okay.
Go ahead. When you're trying to what?
No, I'm just saying, like, at a certain point, it's just KKK over and over. Like, it's
that's
KKK
that's
over and over again.
Unintended consequence for sure. But just the principle, like, if someone writes out shit, and they the T goes on for 5 T's. It's like, are you saying shit? Is that what you're trying to say? Because that's what you're saying. That's what you've written.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly with you. That's.
Have you really never thought about that?
I've never thought about that.
Yeah, see, that's the grammar copy editing nerd in me. It's like, you can't do that. You are making up a sound they would never say.
But I hate it.
I know.
I hate it. It makes no sense. I don't like it. I agree with you. Hate it. I also, now, how do you feel about this? I, hate, it, I'm over that.
Yeah, it's overused. I don't hate it from a grammatical perspective. I hate it from, this, and then the clapping emoji between each one, I feel the same way. It's
I don't like that.
I know what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
This is no longer clever, so we can let this go. This is a vestige of the 2010s.
Yes. When I can tell that whoever wrote the tweet thinks like, oh, this is so clever. Wait till they get a load of this.
This is going to burn down Twitter.
Yes, I do not like that. Brian, this has been delightful. I'm so glad we got a chance to do this. Thank you so much. Please tell everyone where they can find you, plug all your things, etc.
Yes, I have a thriving Instagram account. Instagram and Twitter are both at BaldBrian with a Y. The Instagram may be more interesting to your listeners who don't know me as well, because there are lots of pictures of my wife and daughter up there, as well as I think I alluded to the documentary, right? Yes,
you mentioned it, but you didn't give us any details.
Well, there's no details to give. We're literally about halfway through shooting, so it will be a good year and a half before any footage is made available to the public. That said, I do post behind the scenes like photos and stuff of me doing interviews and things like that occasionally. I will do more because we are ramping up. We just got a big here's an announcement. Just got a big investment in the documentary, so we'll be ramping up some production, and I'll hopefully be posting more behind the scenes goodies. Instagram, Twitter at BaldBrian.
Does the documentary have a title yet?
Yeah, it's a really good title. I didn't get like my book, which is also a good title. I didn't come up with it. Our director did, and it's called Growth.
Nice.
It's a double entendre.
Yes, I entended both of those.
You got it instantly.
I did. And check out my other podcast, Upwardly Weekly, my lighthearted news podcast that comes out on Saturdays, and Childish, aforementioned, comes out every other Wednesday. Follow me on social media at Allison Rosen on Twitter and Instagram. I already mentioned Patreon. I am also on Cameo. And if you like what you're hearing, please make sure you're subscribed, or don't. I don't care.
Yeah.
Give us a nice review, 5 stars. Yeah. We don't really care, whatever. Tony, what about you?
Twitter and Instagram at
Tony Thaxton.
And
Tony gets plugs?
He does. I know.
What show is this?
I've never asked for them. She just gives them.
I know, but sometimes I think, what am I doing?
I am confused why you saved me for last. I will say that.
Oh, does that feel like the
Most
special
impactful.
spot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Tony, plug my Instagram.
I got to think about changing that. I figure by now they've turned it off.
It's true.
That's
they may have.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, what am I doing? I need to rethink a lot of things. Did I cut you off, Tony?
It's my same bullshit it is every week, so whatever. I'm not worried about it.
Oh, so bad.
Bad boy.
This was so much fun. Thank you, listeners. Thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Allison Rosen show? We had a good time